Ever walked into a room and completely blanked on why you're there? I know I have.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
It's like the thought just vanishes into thin air.
Oh!
Yeah, exactly. Poof. But you know what? You're not alone. We all struggle with memory hiccups from time to time. And today we're diving deep into 10 science-backed techniques to sharpen our memory and focus. We're talking diet sleep, even some surprising mental and physical exercises.
That's right. There's so much we can do to support our brain health.
I'm even hearing whispers about one technique that's a total game changer, but we'll get to that later.
Can't wait.
So let's get started. What's fascinating about memory is that while some decline can be a natural part of aging,
Yeah.
it's also a sign that our brains need a little TLC. And the good news is there's a lot we can do to give them that support.
Absolutely. Our sources dive right into the importance of sleep, specifically deep sleep. They're throwing around stats like a 40% increase in memory retention just from getting enough shut-eye.
40%. That's huge. Is it really that straightforward?
It might sound simple, but the science backs it up. A study published in Nature Neuroscience followed participants' sleep patterns
Okay.
and found those consistently clocking 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep showed significantly improved memory retention. Think of deep sleep as your brain running a disk defrag in the background.
Uh,
It's taking all the information you've encountered during the day, organizing it, and strengthening those neural pathways.
so basically, if I want to remember where I put my keys, I need to prioritize those Ds.
Got it.
Yeah.
But what about what we're feeding our brains? The sources highlight omega-3 fatty acids as being key for memory function. What's the deal with those?
Omega-3s are like building blocks for healthy brain cell membranes. They help those cells communicate effectively, which is crucial for memory formation and recall. Think fatty fish, like salmon,
Mm-hmm.
walnuts, chia seeds,
Yeah.
all packed with these good fats.
So it's like giving our brains a high-performance tune-up with the right fuel. Speaking of high performance, I see exercise popping up in our research.
Oh, yeah.
There's this thing called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
Right. That apparently gets a boost from physical activity. Break this down for us. What is BDNF and why should we care?
BDNF is essentially miracle grow for your brain. It encourages the growth of new brain cells and strengthens connections between existing ones. This means better memory, improved learning, and even protection against cognitive decline as we age. And a Harvard study found that as little as 30 minutes of exercise can significantly increase BDNF levels.
30 minutes. That's doable. But is there a specific type of workout that's most effective?
While any exercise is good, the research highlights high-intensity interval training, or HII, as being particularly beneficial for boosting BDNF.
Okay.
These short bursts of intense activity, followed by quick recovery periods, really get the brain firing.
All right, HIIT it is. But let's not forget about those mental workouts. Our sources point to a technique called chunking as a memory hack used by memory champions. Is this something we can all benefit from, or is it just for, the memory Olympians?
Chunking is absolutely something anyone can use. You're already doing it without realizing it. Think about how you remember phone numbers. You break them down into smaller chunks area code prefix line instead of trying to memorize the entire string of digits. That's chunking in action.
So instead of staring blankly at my grocery list, I should try grouping items into categories like produce, dairy, and snacks.
Exactly. The brain loves patterns, and creating these meaningful chunks makes information much easier to encode and recall. It's like giving your brain a filing system instead of just shoving everything into one giant drawer.
Now, this wouldn't be a complete deep dive without addressing the elephant in the room: stress. Our sources emphasize the strong link between stress and memory, specifically pointing to cortisol, the stress hormone. So how much damage is stress doing to our memory, and is there anything we can do about it?
Cortisol is a double-edged sword. In small doses, it helps us focus and deal with challenges. But when we're chronically stressed, that flood of cortisol can actually damage the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain responsible for forming new memories.
So chronic stress is literally shrinking our brain power.
It's not quite that dramatic, but long-term stress can certainly impair memory formation and recall. However, there are ways to combat this. This source highlights mindfulness as a powerful tool for reducing cortisol levels.
Okay, I've heard a lot about mindfulness, but honestly, it all seems a bit mystical. What exactly does it involve, and is it really that effective?
Mindfulness is simply about being present in the moment, noticing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. It can be as simple as taking a few minutes to focus on your breath, noticing the rise and fall of your chest as you inhale and exhale. And yes, research shows that even just 10 minutes of mindfulness can reduce cortisol levels by up to 20%.
Wow, a 20% reduction in stress just from focusing on my breath. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But before we all go off and start meditating, our sources throw a curveball: cold showers. They claim this is a game changer for memory and focus. But I'm skeptical. Is this really necessary?
I know it sounds extreme, but there's a growing body of research suggesting that cold exposure can have significant cognitive benefits. Cold showers, in particular, have been shown to trigger a surge in norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter that plays a key role in alertness, focus, and memory.
So we're trading a warm and cozy shower for an icy blast to the senses, all in the name of better memory. I have to admit, I'm intrigued.
Think of it this way. That jolt of cold is like hitting the reset button on your brain, instantly boosting your alertness and cognitive function. And the research shows that even a 30-second cold shower can have a noticeable impact.
All right, you've convinced me I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone. Literally. Now, our sources also emphasize something that seems pretty basic: staying hydrated. We all know our brains are mostly water, but how much does dehydration actually impact our memory?
It can really sneak up on you. And even mild dehydration can lead to brain fog and memory lapses. Think of your brain cells like plump grapes. When you're dehydrated, they become like raisins.
Reasons.
Yeah, shriveled and less efficient.
Okay, that's a visual I won't soon forget. So how much water should we be aiming for to keep those brain grapes plump and juicy?
The general recommendation is 2 to 3 liters daily, but factors like activity level and climate can influence your individual needs. You know what I mean?
Got it. Water bottle check. Our sources also mention something called neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells. I thought we were stuck with the brain cells we were born with.
That's an old myth. Neurogenesis continues throughout our lives, and one of the best ways to encourage it is by learning new skills.
So picking up a new hobby isn't just a fun way to pass the time, it's actually rewiring our brains and creating new neurons.
I love that. But what kind of activities are we talking about?
Anything that challenges you mentally can do the trick. Learning a new language, playing a musical instrument, even taking up a challenging new game or puzzle.
Learning to juggle is looking more appealing by the minute. Okay, before we move on, I'm curious about something our sources touched on. Sunlight and vitamin D. What's the connection between catching some rays and boosting brain power? Sunlight plays a crucial role in our body's production of vitamin D, which has been linked to better cognitive function and memory. Vitamin D helps regulate neurotransmitters like serotonin, which are essential for mood sleep, and even how our brain cells communicate.
So a little sunshine isn't just good for the soul, it's good for the brain too. I like it. But it's interesting that all of our sources seem hyper-focused on boosting memory. What about the flip side? Are there things we might be doing that are actually harming our memory without realizing it?
Absolutely. There are definitely some memory saboteurs lurking in our daily habits. We already touched on the impact of chronic stress, but it's worth emphasizing how detrimental prolonged stress can be for the hippocampus, that memory-forming region of the brain.
Right, chronic stress is basically like a slow drip of poison for our brains. Are there other sneaky culprits we should be aware of?
Sleep deprivation is a big one. Remember, deep sleep is crucial for consolidating memories and making those neural connections stronger. When we consistently skimp on sleep, we're essentially robbing our brains of that crucial downtime.
So it's like working your computer 24/7 without ever giving it a chance to shut down and run updates. Eventually, it's going to crash.
Exactly. And here's another one that might surprise you. Excessive alcohol consumption.
Wait, a glass of wine with dinner is bad for my memory.
A glass or two here and there is unlikely to cause significant harm, but heavy drinking has been linked to brain shrinkage and damage to, you guessed it, the hippocampus.
Okay, noted. Anything else we should add to our avoid list?
Something we all tend to do in our fast-paced world. Multitasking. While it might seem like we're getting more done trying to juggle multiple tasks at once, actually divides our attention and makes it harder for our brains to encode information effectively.
So all those times I've tried to answer emails while cooking dinner and catching up on the news, I've actually been sabotaging my memory.
Think of your brain like a single-core processor. It can only handle one complex task at a time. When you try to force it to multitask, it's like trying to run multiple programs simultaneously on an old computer. Things start to slow down, and eventually the system crashes.
All right, multitasking is officially out. But since our brains love patterns, wouldn't that make sticking to a routine a good thing for memory?
That's a great point. Routines are actually incredibly beneficial for our brains because they reduce cognitive load. Having a consistent schedule for things like waking up, eating meals, and going to bed frees up mental space so you can focus on other tasks throughout the day.
So those who thrive on spontaneity might need to create some structure to give their brains a break.
It's a great takeaway. Now, what about brain training apps and games? Do those really live up to the hype of making us sharper and more focused?
There's definitely some debate on the efficacy of brain training apps. While it can be fun and engaging, and some studies suggest they might improve certain cognitive skills like processing speed, the evidence for their long-term benefits, particularly in boosting overall memory function, is still mixed.
So they're not a magic bullet. Not exactly.
Mm.
Engaging in activities that challenge your brain in a variety of ways, like learning a new language or instrument, is likely to have a more profound impact on cognitive health in the long run. Think of it like this. Brain training apps are like doing isolated bicep curls at the gym. They might strengthen that one specific muscle, but they're not going to give you a full body workout.
Yeah, it's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So variety is key. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground today, from the importance of deep sleep and brain-boosting foods to the potential downsides of multitasking and the surprising benefits of cold showers.
That's right.
Ready to put all this knowledge into action?
You bet. Let's do it.
Awesome. Let's recap everything we've learned about boosting our memory power and create a cheat sheet you can use to sharpen your mind. First up, the foundation.
Deep sleep.
Absolutely. Those 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep aren't just about feeling rested. They're about giving your brain the time it needs to process and store information. Think of it as hitting the save button on all those important memories.
Love that analogy. Okay, next we've got to fuel those brain cells omega-3s from fatty fish walnuts, chia seeds.
And antioxidants from blueberries are like giving your brain a high-octane upgrade.
It's like premium fuel.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of movement. Whether it's a brisk walk, a gym session, or some heart-pumping HIIT exercise, increases BDNF, that miracle grow for your brain.
You got it.
We also dove into some mental techniques. Chunking, or breaking information into smaller, meaningful groups, helps your brain file things away more efficiently.
Like a well-organized filing cabinet.
Exactly. And when stress threatens to take over, mindfulness, even for just a few minutes, can significantly lower those cortisol levels, giving your brain a much-needed breather.
It's like a mini vacation for your mind.
I like that. We even explored some unconventional methods like cold showers, which trigger a surge of norepinephrine, boosting alertness and focus.
That's one way to wake up your brain.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And of course, staying hydrated is key. Keep those brain cells plump and happy with plenty of water throughout the day.
Absolutely. Essential.
Don't forget the incredible power of lifelong learning. Taking on a new skill, whether it's juggling coding or playing an instrument, stimulates neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells.
Keeps those neurons firing.
And soaking up some sunshine isn't just good for your mood. It helps your body produce vitamin D, essential for cognitive function and memory.
Sunshine and brain power, what's not to love?
Now, we also explored some memory saboteurs to watch out for: chronic stress, sleep deprivation, excessive alcohol consumption, and even multitasking.
Those are the big ones.
Yeah, for sure. By being mindful of these habits and incorporating the memory-boosting techniques we've discussed, you can take control of your cognitive health and keep your mind sharp for years to come.
It's all about making those small changes and being consistent.
Absolutely. It's all about finding what works best for you and making gradual, sustainable changes. Don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start small, be consistent, and celebrate your progress.
Got it.
It's a journey, not a destination. There's always more to learn and new ways to challenge your brain. Embrace the process and enjoy the incredible power of your mind.
Well said.
We focus on boosting memory, but as we wrap up, here's a thought to ponder. Could strategically forgetting also be beneficial? Sometimes letting go of past hurts or regrets can free up mental space and allow us to move forward with clarity and purpose.
That's an interesting thought.
Right? It's like decluttering your mind.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we want to thank you for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the world of memory. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel empowered to take charge of your brain health. Until next time, keep those brains engaged, and remember, the power to shape your mind is in your hands.